Hey, yo. Okay, so apparently our last broadcast was deleted, removed. I apologize. There's not a lot that I can do to bring it back at this point because it says copyright NBA, and I'm not seeing it even in my library to be able to review it. So, unfortunately, if it's gone, it's gone. I have no idea what happened to that. I still don't know if it is because we played that entire defensive possession. I tried to speed it up, slow it down, pause it, etc. I don't know if it was because the score we were playing that entire Jack Armstrong interview. I think maybe it just let that run too long. But why would it say the NBA? Anyways, this is very unfortunate for those of you who like to who like to catch these post games later, because I'm obviously not going to do the entire post game again. But maybe after this, I'll go back and do like a 10 minute recap or something like that. Anyways, to recap it off, I mean, to those of you who missed yes, it is a copyright strike, so this is not good, and maybe it makes me think that maybe I shouldn't do the film breakdowns anymore. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I would love to know, like, it doesn't even give you like a specific, okay, this is what you did. It just said NBA copyright. So I have a feeling it was the Jack Armstrong thing, but it might have been the TNT thing. Shoot. I was maybe getting a little bit too lax with the copyright stuff. Anyways, whatever. Point is, big team win for the Raptors. Huge game for Scottie. Huge game off the bench. And let's go to the post game stuff, and let's pray to God that this does not get copyright striked, because channels can only get 3 copyright strikes and then they get banned. So I suspect it was a Scottie interview as well. Yeah, I have a feeling it was too. That's very unfortunate. Okay.
All right, Coach, how does this one feel?
You're all about feelings, how we feel.
Love it.
Great win. Our guys were able to sustain intensity on the defensive end, keeping them to 27, 21, 22, and 24 points per each quarter. Proud of our defensive effort. Still think we had another layer to it, discipline-wise and execution-wise, to be better. But I'm always going to be looking for ways for us to improve. We shared the ball, played together. Definitely not happy with our turnovers again. 21 turnovers is way too much, and we got to continue addressing that and getting better in that area.
What steps have you seen this team make, especially like this month? Maybe the work is just more reflected this month more than ever, but 3 wins now in a row, 2 against the same team, which is a really tough thing to do. What steps are you seeing?
Really togetherness of our team. It's something that was there from the start of the year, but there is so much camaraderie on our team, and the guys are cheering for each other, and they want everybody to do well. And now things start to click for us, thanks to amazing work that guys are putting in. All of the success and all of those wins, that's thanks to players. They're doing an amazing job.
Asked you before the game if perhaps Orlando would see some minutes tonight. How did you feel he impacted the game?
I did not want to play Orlando, but when you mentioned, I was like,
You're welcome.
I gotta listen to you. So
Coach done.
Yeah. Orlando, I think he did a really good job. Obviously, when you join a team in the middle of the season, there is a lot to pick up, and what you're doing offensively, defensively. I think especially in the first half, he brought great energy. He was great around the rim, blocked a couple of shots, hit a couple of deflections. I think he did a really good job tonight.
Coach, after Thursday's win, a reporter had asked you what you guys did well against Trae Young. You said, I'm not going to tell you because we play them again on Saturday. Can I ask you the same question? What did you guys do well against Trae Young tonight?
I mean, Trae Young is an amazing player. I have so much respect for that guy, the way he competes every single night. the way he carries his team. He's been doing amazing job this year, averaging almost like 12 assists a game. You don't see that every day. I have a lot of respect for that guy. We really try to use different players on them, and we played in the shorter stints. Davion Mitchell and Jamal on him, and Bruce Brown. All of those three guys are elite defenders, and we really wanted to make hard on him, to pick up full court, to be physical with him, especially when he gives up the ball, not allowing him to get the ball back in his hands. Sometimes it worked out for us, but making it extremely hard and trying to disconnect him from the rest of the group.
You also won 2 coaches' challenges today. The one in the fourth quarter where you were able to overturn the block and give it.
It's funny because he's been so critical of Darko's coaches' challenges. So it's a little backhanded, but cool.
To Davion Mitchell for the and one. Seemed like a really big sequence. Can you take us through like what your system is when it comes to sort of assessing whether or not to use the coach's challenge and sort of, who's assisting you on that front as well?
I mean, we have assistant coach Eric Torrey, who is responsible for reviewing those in the game and giving me thumbs up or thumbs down, when to challenge or not. I have absolutely trust in him. We're always meeting and talking about the process and, what are the rules and what are the nuances. We do have a process that is very streamlined. A lot of times it really starts with the value of the possession. We just don't want to challenge just to win the challenge, but also looking at like what is the value of the challenge. And obviously in those sequences, like I think we saved us 6 points for those 2 challenges. We're going to continue learning. It's a process for us and for the league. We're going to continue learning and getting better in that area as well.
Coach, prior to the last game, Bogdanovic broke out of this shooting slump, and I asked him prior to this game, was it because he's in front of a fellow Serbian that maybe he was more inspired? And he said that in Serbia, when you're in a shooting slump, you put your hands in the more of a river. Apparently, that's good luck. Have you heard about that at all?
Of course, that river is in my hometown in Čačak, and there is a big tradition in my city that we have amazing shooters. Radmilo Mišović is the legend in my hometown. And in ex-Yugoslavia, he used to average 42 points per game without three-point line. So you don't see that very, very often. And, we had amazing shooters after that coming through the city. And that's how this legend started. Like everybody from my hometown, they go to River Morava, they wash their hands, they become shooters. That's all you need. You don't need to put the work in, and all you got to do is wash your hands. But I can testify it did not work on me.
But maybe a shot of rakia as well before the game.
Rakia helps for sure.
By the way, there's a documentary on Dražen Petrovic coming out. I think it's actually out now. Are you going to be watching that and knowing obviously how big of a person he was for the Balkan region?
No doubt. Dražen Petrovic is one of the best players from that region that ever played a game. Unfortunately, sad story the way his life ended, but he was inspiration for my whole generation of kids at that time growing up and watching him and Toni Kukoc and Raja and Divac and that whole generation of amazing players. They were idols for my generation of kids that played basketball at the time, and Dražen Petrovic was one of the greatest ever.
Last game, RJ asked you about RJ after the game, and you said a bit of a call up for him to sort of do a little bit better in the rematch here. What did you see better from RJ tonight?
From the start of the game, he was really locked in. He did a really good job of, to start with, not turning the ball over. He was all over the place last game with the 5 turnovers in the first half. He was really focused on that part. He did a really good job of rebounding the ball. He did a really good job on defensive end, staying in front of the ball, heavy contesting on shooters. He was playing much harder. Defense, everything starts with effort. There is no substitute for effort. If you're playing with a lot of effort, you're going to find a way how you're going to get stops. And this group, our team is really starting to embrace how hard you need to work on defensive end in order to get stops. And obviously that helps winning.
Coach, real quick, is there any plans to celebrate 3 games, 1 straight?
No plans. We got practice tomorrow, so practice is going to be celebration tomorrow for us.
Perfect.
What? No pizza party? Damn it. Well, I can't afford pizza now anyway. Fucking NBA. Anyways, point being, this was a really good win. Now, I'm going to do my best. I don't know if I want to do this or if I want to tempt fate. If I want to tempt fate. But I think there's a way for me to recover a little bit of that video. I do feel terrible for anybody who, tunes into this in the morning and is like, what happened to the post game analysis? What happened to the film breakdown? I need to see this. And now they're not going to see it because that video got removed. So now I'm kind of curious if I should maybe stitch the two videos together. I don't know. I don't want to ruin the streak. I've been on a streak. I've covered every single post game this year, and I feel this video getting removed was such a kick in the ass right now, or actually a kick in the balls. To be honest, wasn't really a kick in the ass. Should I completely redo the film breakdown? Risk that might be what caused the strike in the first place? Get the video removed again? I'm confused. I'm genuinely confused. I don't know what to do. Anyways, talking about this game overall. From a process perspective, I think the bench played really great, right? We talked about it in the film breakdown to those of you who were there. I suspect about 600 to 700 people at some point or another dipped into that live. So hopefully most of you, Gregory's saying don't risk it. Yeah, I am thinking bigger picture, but I'm also thinking I feel bad for, the people. We were like 4 subscribers away from 12,000 subscribers. So I was like, this is kind of a cool video. It's going to be the video that, the Raptors win 3 straight. We get to 12,000 subscribers at long last. But nevertheless, anyways, I have really felt that the Raptors are missing 3 critical things pretty much the entire season. It feels like it has sunk them every single time. Number 1, it feels like they've been missing backup point play. I don't really care if your center is your point guard, your small forward's your point guard, if RJ's playing point, Scottie's playing point. I really don't care. I'm just saying like competent playmaking on your second unit has been somewhat missing. There's been a lot of turnovers. There's been a lot of unsteady, stuff. I did want to take a look at some of the numbers because I think some of the numbers going into this season were very, very interesting. Sorry, going into this game were really interesting. So this is something that I was looking at yesterday. So the Raptors are 29th in clutch winning percentage. That did not change tonight because tonight's game did not enter clutch time at all. So they're 5th. So they're 6 and 14 in that. They're 5th in passes made per game at 305 per game. They're 6th in assists, right? They're 4th in potential assists. They're 30th in points off of pull-up jumpers. So that's 14.1 points. And the Kings lead the league with 25.7. And you would be correct to assume that the Suns are top 3 as well. They're 15th in pull-up jumper efficiency. So the worst, ironically, is the team you just faced, which is Atlanta, 34%. But the Raptors are 37.5%. So the best is Phoenix, 43.5. Number 3 in paint touch points. And Denver, Atlanta lead the league. So worst is Phoenix. Just do not get to the paint. It was a surprising number, 12.4. They're 29th in isolation scoring, isolation possessions per game. Clearly, Darko has just beat the shit out of isolation, completely. And Zazu, what's up, man? What's good? Oh, and I think the call-in link leads to the other stream, so I apologize to anybody trying to call that link. I just copied and pasted without thinking. This call-in link is not for this. But if anyone does want to call in to this one, hang on. You can call in using this link right here. Zazu, you're like a minor celebrity in the chat. Love it. Okay, 29th in isolation possessions per game, 30th in isolation points per possession. So they're terrible in isolation, man. It's not good. And 25th in transition efficiency. So again, they get out in transition a lot. They're terrible at it, right? So I thought this team was missing a competent bench big. So rim protection off the bench. They were missing that. I thought they were missing competent point play on the second unit. And I thought they were missing a wing stopper, like an additional wing stopper. Now, I look at these numbers and I say, how far are you, because I made a video a few weeks ago saying point Bruce, point guard Bruce can solve it all. He is point guard adjacent. In some variations, he is point guard adjacent. He does handle the ball quite a bit. He handles a lot of decisions in the middle of the court. I think Kelly Olynyk has been point guard adjacent as well. Tonight, you operate without Kelly Olynyk. A little bit of a mixed bag, but I think, there's something there. The rim protection on the second unit, I think, has been coming from Kelly Olynyk taking a more renewed interest in that regard. The Raptors just collectively doing a better job of, shutting down all these drives to the rim. But also, I think tonight Orlando Robinson flashed a lot of competent stuff, right? And again, to anybody, who missed the first part of this where we got, copyright strike and all that stuff, unfortunately, we did see a lot of that in the film breakdown as well, right? We saw a lot of intelligent, competent, effortful defense. Aaron Rose just the other day, he posted this video of the Raptors championship defense, and he had a lot of nice things to say about look at how many compete, how the Raptors are competing, et cetera, et cetera. So I just thought that it was very interesting to see the Raptors play a really competent level of defense. All right, Zazu is calling in. Zazu, what's up, man?
What's up, man? How you doing, brother?
I'm good, man. This stream, the initial stream got copyright strike by the NBA. I have no idea. It's because I don't know if it's because I played the Scottie TNT interview. It's like a 2-minute interview. I don't think that was going to get a copyright strike, but
Scottie had a TNT interview or an NBA TV interview?
NBA TV on TNT. It's Studio J.
Oh,
It's the same shit. Yeah.
right. Okay. That's dope. That's dope. Adam Silver's trying to get him to the All-Star game.
Hopefully. I guess these wins help. Yeah.
Yeah, these wins definitely help. No, great game tonight. I just came to let y'all know that tonight was, I don't care whether we're tanking or winning. I'm just here for the ride because I know we're not winning the championship and tonight. I'm taking it as it goes. I'm someone that I'm a sucker for wins. And when wins comes by, oh, I am jubilant because losing just sucks, bro. It's hard to see the long road when you lose. And I'm very reactionary in terms of like my personality is fiery. So I'm in love with just the passion. I'm in love with the game, and I love it when I see my team and my players are playing hard. When they're playing
Mhm.
hard and they're fighting for each other and they're making the right reads, and they're getting back on defense and covering each other's ground, even though they turn the ball over to get it back right away. Like when I see that, I can't help but cheer for them. I can't help but you know as a fan jump up and just be in awe of how incredible my team is playing. So tonight was just a great win. I I would say that I love Chris Boucher's development, if I could say that. A 31-year-old is developed. Like Chris Boucher, literally, it, he's he doesn't make too many bonehead plays that he used to make, even last year. He had
Mhm.
zero fouls tonight.
Yeah, it's true.
Zero fouls. Usually he racks up his fouls pretty quick. Zero fouls tonight, barely turned the ball over. He made this he knew what he wanted to do. He knew he's playing within himself, and he's been like this for a while now. And whether or not he gets traded, I'd rather keep him because I think he could be our Udalis Haslam as a vet. He's a hometown kid. Why not? Right? But if we do trade him, my golly, hopefully we can get some assets back for him because he's proven that he can help drive wins for a team, right? So contenders right now, looking at the Mavericks, cuff, looking at I'm looking at even the Warriors, they can use a love threat
Mhm.
as Chris Boucher. Even the Denver Nuggets can use a Chris Boucher. There's so many teams right now that can use a Chris Boucher. Really and truly, if you really look at it, man, I think he had a phenomenal game tonight. I I really love that RJ, you know, played really good defense tonight. Like it wasn't the greatest defense, but his defense was a lot better than last timeout. And and in his interview recently, he talked in his interview today. He talked about it, and like he said, he challenged himself to be better, and he was definitely better tonight. And I love that, and I love that like that pushed him up offensively. He barely missed. He was very efficient tonight, which is what you want to see from your second man, right?
Hmm.
Like shout out to RJ. I think he played a phenomenal game tonight. Like offensively, defensively, I think he played a really like a better all around game. Like his playmaking was there, finding his teammates and stuff for the easy buckets. His turnovers was limited. Like again, and then to top it all off, like Scottie Barnes tonight. Like I tweeted out in the second quarter that Scottie Barnes having a rough game.
He was.
Yeah, like he was just having a rough game offensively, but defensively, like he just kept plugging along, and
Hmm.
this is where I think Scottie Barnes is evolving right before our eyes.
Right.
Like he started the game 1 for 5 or 1 for 7 or something like that,
Hmm.
and he's like, you know what? I'm buried in this. I'm gonna go to my sweet spot and just go to work. And he went to work and ended up finishing the game 50% from the field from the field. Like the fact that he can recognize that, go to a sweet spot, and that sweet spot is just so butter.
Hmm.
That is him developing as a scorer, and people aren't realizing that right now.
I
Like
agree.
no one's realizing how much that he's really truly becoming a scorer and a creator for himself to go get it himself, and he knows exactly where on the floor he can go to go get that shot. It's about to become scary hours. And I'm not sure if you saw Zatzman's tweet on Scotty Barnes saying that like
What do you
Scotty
say?
Barnes is. Did you see it?
Mhm.
So if you look at Zatman's last tweet, pull it up.
What do you say?
He
Just tell me.
he said that Scotty Barnes is already ready. He's primed. He's ready to lead a team deep into the playoffs.
Wow.
And
Hmm.
he then says that unfortunately the Raptors aren't ready for it.
Hmm.
But my God, Scotty Barnes definitely is ready to lead a team to a playoff, and it's fun to watch. You just gotta find his tweet, read it yourself. Like I'll tag you when I can. I don't know if I can even leave this space. If I leave, I don't know if it'll kick me out. But um, yeah, if you find that tweet, I was pretty impressed that he actually tweeted that out during the game, because Scottie Barnes definitely he's ready to lead a team deep into the playoff. Like he had an excellent all around game.
He
For
did.
like, what is Scottie Barnes' weakness? You want to say shooting the ball, sure, but and when you say shooting from where? From the 3 point line? Okay, fine. But everything else about basketball,
Hmm.
he's almost great at. Like his on ball defense this year, bro.
His
I'm
defense has been awesome. Like again, like there's all these things that we don't measure with Scotty, and I've been, you know, been his biggest hype guy
hundred
pretty much
percent.
since the beginning, right? And it's because I see the physics of it, I see the process of it, and I see the work ethic of it, right? I also see all the similarities to all the great players like Kawhi and Shea, where he doesn't get satisfied, he's not complacent, he doesn't win Rookie of the Year and then get fat and come back out of shape. He doesn't become an all-star and then stop working in the off season because he's like, yeah, that's good enough. He's never happy with good enough. He doesn't do that, right? So, Gregory, thank you so much, man. I appreciate this. I'm actually going to put this towards pizza. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for the super chat there. We just hit 12,000 subscribers. We've been kind of
Nice,
push.
congrats, man. I'm glad I'm here for that. Hey,
Hey, I'm
shout out to
I'm
you, man.
I'm happy. I'd set this goal for myself for January 1st. I'm very, very happy to hit this mark. It's a meaningful milestone for us. Of course, every thousand is good. And we've been covering a pretty bad Raptors team, right? For the
Hmm.
entirety of this
Yeah,
channel's
it's
history, we've
rough.
been covering dysfunctional. We've been covering tanking.
Yeah,
You
it's tough.
know, I can't wait to cover a good Raptors team.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people are a little bit disappointed for the tank. I think there are some people that are, you know, feeling that sort of are we gonna lose this? Are we about to
Right.
do this, you know, thing that we did? Look, the Raptors are winning with youth right now. They're
Right.
winning with youth, and they have, like, honestly, I really do think Scotty is better than Cade. I do. I
Oh, without a
really do.
doubt.
Like, I'm not even capping when I say that. Like, 100%, I think he's better than him. Yo, what the hell? Whoa. Yo, Pepper Jack, happy 12K, Rob. Keep going. Yo, $50 super chat. You guys are very, very generous. Thank you so
Hey,
much.
they're
And
blessing you
Bueno Kitty
tonight.
with a 44.44 for Scotty Barnes. I'm just or the fourth quarter gang. Okay. Okay. Congrats on 12,000 subs. Let's fucking go. Don't know
Let's go.
on
Y'all
behalf of the
keep
fourth
blessing
quarter
Rob,
gang.
man. Y'all keep blessing Rob, man. He's doing some good work out here, y'all.
Elliot Roberts, thank you so much, man, and Zazu, appreciate you, man. So yeah, like I really do appreciate, you know, like how Scotty's processes are kind of unfolded. And I posted earlier, you know, that did you catch the Jack Armstrong thing? I was trying to play that right when the video clipped out. Did you catch that thing about him saying he's more skilled than Giannis?
Yeah, the interview he had on Sportsnet.
Mm-hmm. It
Yeah,
was
he did.
on the
He
score.
was
He
saying,
said,
yeah, he was saying that like Scotty is more skilled, but then he then kind of
threw
it,
shade
it,
at
it-
him.
yeah, it's weird. It's like, oh, he kind of needs to be. I don't want to. He almost kind of want to say he needs to grow a bit more competitively. I'm like, you're doubting Scotty Barnes' competitiveness
See, it's interesting that you
or
would
his
notice
heart.
that because
Like it was weird.
yeah, because a lot of people, you know, I've been kind of going at how I feel Jack covers players, like certain players, Vince, Scotty
Mm,
specifically. I really didn't like how he talked about Vince when Vince was here. And I
yeah,
guess I haven't completely recovered because it's the same dude. He sounds the same. He
he's
thinks the
here
same.
forever. He's
He's
been
been here
here.
forever, 27 years,
Yeah,
right?
he's been
So,
here.
you know, when he was questioning Vince Carter's compete level, love for the game, all that stuff, I was like, miss me with that nonsense. I know Vince loves the game, but
Mm.
he was just talking about like that stuff. And it's very similar how he covers Scotty. It's a similar
Yeah,
talking points, right?
he was like Giannis will take your heart out, even though
Right.
and I'm thinking I'm sitting here like, you don't think Scotty Barnes would want to take your heart out? You think he's just a like a pretty face, nice guy? Like, bro, all that clapping in your face, all that like he when he sits in that defensive stance and he's hyped up, you that's not someone that's trying to take your heart out.
Hmm.
I just didn't understand that angle from Jack. Unfortunately, I'm like, I understand what you're saying. Like, you praised him. You said he's more skilled than Giannis, but then you're like, oh, he needs to. Maybe maybe he was trying to say Scotty's competitiveness needs to go to a next level. Like he's not saying that he's not like he's not competitive. Maybe he's saying that his competitiveness needs to go from maybe great to like legendary. I don't know. That's like you know what I'm saying. Because he did say a lot of good things about Scotty. It's
He
just that
did.
one part kind of like felt odd. I just don't know.
Well, he said, first of all, I disagree with the notion that Scotty is more skilled than Giannis. Just want to throw that out there.
You don't think Scotty's more skilled than Giannis?
No, I don't. I, I'm watching Giannis for a long time. I think Scotty's a better passer. I think Giannis has a tighter control of the basketball. I think Giannis has a tighter
Okay,
control of his footwork.
footwork.
And
Okay,
I think Giannis is just a better finisher around the rim. So, I mean, all of that is skill. And Giannis is very, very, very good defensively. So, first of all, like, I'm put it up this way. Let's say, let me set you up for a little bit of failure. Okay. Zazu is like the smartest guy since since Tesla. He's the smartest guy since Einstein. If only he would apply himself. Now I don't know if that's true. Maybe you are smarter than Tesla and Einstein. But the truth is, when I introduce the second variable there, I'm kind of like setting you up for failure because if I believe the first part, then the second part just means you're fucking lazy. You know what I mean?
yeah,
So when you
that's the part that's annoying.
see, like like when they said Vince Carter is just as skilled as Michael Jordan, he just doesn't want it enough. The story writes itself. If Vince Carter doesn't become Michael Jordan, he lacks heart. The last thing you ever want out there about an athlete is he's not a competitor. He doesn't compete hard. We can deal with his jump shots a little bit wonky, his handles a little bit, loose, his, conditioning is a little bit off. Like these types of things, I think we could sort of like work with it because those are workable things. But when you start really prodding into this guy doesn't want to compete, and this narrative has been around Scottie since year 2. He doesn't work hard. He's not mature. He's not a good leader. He's not composed. I don't get it. But this idea of saying he's not a competitor is to me crazy. So I don't know, man. This Jack Armstrong stuff gets weird for me. But no, Giannis has been a demon in the mid range. I think Giannis is probably the second or third best player in the league. There's a gap between guys like Jokic, Shea, Giannis, and everybody else right now. But I think Scottie by next year can close the gap between himself and Jason Tatum. I think he's right there. Jason Tatum, Anthony Edwards, guys like this. I think he can get right there. And
Honestly,
maybe one more step, he'll get to that next level.
Honestly, when it comes to Scotty, I don't put any kind of limitation on him or like try to say what he is or what he isn't.
Sure.
I just let the kid exist, and I just like seeing the process and progression. He's ours. He's our one of our cornerstones that we're building around. So I'm
Right.
just gonna appreciate him for who he is and his growth, his trajectory. That's what I'm more excited about. All the other conversations around him in terms of, oh, he's gonna be this person or not gonna be this person, or if he's a 1A or 1B or not a star. All that, me personally, I couldn't care less for any of that. All I know is that he's a darn good player. He's a player I see that like he's unselfish, a willing passer. He reads the game well. He's freaking 6'10". He's absolutely 6'10". He's taller than Udonis Aslam. If you looked at that TNT video, and Aslam sits at 6'8", and he towers
I think
6'8".
I think Haslam's about 6'7", man. But yeah, I mean Scotty's probably 6'9".
Yeah.
Regardless, he's
So
huge. For a guard, he's
huge,
big.
huge. So he has all the tools to be a tremendous basketball player. His IQ's off the chart. There's no way you fail. When you have high IQ and you have good touch, which is like your touch is nice around the rim, your free throw, like you can see, like there will be growth, right? And you're unselfish and you're 6'9", bro. It's just up to you and your work ethic at that point to get to whatever level you need to get to. And I'm here for that ride. I am here for that ride because he's all ours. He's a Toronto Raptor player, and I'm a fan of him simply because he belongs to us. Just the same way I was a fan of DeMar DeRozan when he came to the league and he was drafted 9th overall, and he was raw as heck. The man couldn't dribble. The man couldn't shoot. The man just was a slash and dunker, and he became a demigod in the mid range, a tight handle. He became a perennial all star. He led us to a 15. That's DeMar DeRozan. You trying to tell me this version of Scottie Barnes wasn't better than the version of DeMar that came into the league? Even the fourth version of this Scottie Barnes isn't better than DeMar DeRozan right now. Let's be freaking for real.
I'm gonna be clear. Like I think Scottie with proper spacing, just even remotely decent spacing,
Right.
is better than any version of DeMar that's ever existed ever.
100,000% agree. And DeMar's my favorite basketball player, and I'll agree with that. You know what I'm saying? So, bottom line is this: like, a lot of people doubt Scottie Barnes. I remember a discourse about Scottie Barnes that I really truly hated when they talked about his laziness, his work ethics. He doesn't put in the right work. He needs to change his trainer. Like that conversation really truly pissed me off because it was coming from fans and people who were not in his circle. I'm like, how do you guys know this? How do you know that he's lazy? It's not like you follow him. It's not like you're an ant in the wall. You're not a spider on the wall. You
You
don't
know
know what
where that
he's
started, right?
Bro, I know it's Doug Smith and those bozos. I know. I know where it
Nope.
started
Nope.
from.
That's not where it started.
Where did it start from?
It started with well,
You
it
talking about
start.
we'll lose interview with
It was
Jake
JD
Fisher?
it was JD Bunkus
JD
interviewing
Buckets.
Coach Thorpe and
Oh, was it JD work?
Will
Yeah.
Lou interviewing Coach Thorpe, and he said, I this tattooed on my brain. He said, you know, Scott, I I can tell you he's not doing what Pascal's doing in the offseason. I don't know what he's doing, but he's not doing what Pascal's doing in the offseason.
I love
And
how you
that
change your voice
little,
to the
there was
inflection.
already so much kerosene. You know what I mean? Like there's like it's an unfortunate thing that, it has really hurt a lot of people in this world when people use this type of reasoning to come up with their theories. So it's like, if like I like to, I used to tutor and I used to meet every kid and I used to walk in with that. No matter what I knew about the kid from their parents, no matter what the parents said, oh, he's lazy, this guy's lazy, he's
Right.
stupid, he doesn't work hard. I wipe all of that from my brain and I meet the kid and I'm like, I don't know anything about you. Tell me about you. I want to start fresh. I don't want, the grades to dictate what I think about the kid. The thing is that Scottie was struggling in year 2 because he was injured. He had tendonitis. We
Bro,
didn't
that's
talk
what I'm
about it.
saying.
He
Like,
was limping every fucking second game. But these dudes had this idea that, nah, this has to be for a reason. And the
right.
reason is he won Rookie of the Year and he became complacent. And that's the story we're going to run with. And he's the reason that Fred is struggling. And he's the reason Pascal we didn't trade him for Kevin Durant. Because I think when the report came out, the Raptors didn't want to trade Scottie for Kevin Durant. I think a lot of people were like, what? I thought we
Yeah.
kind of saw him like a Charlie Villanueva type. I didn't know we felt like this about Scottie. I think they sort of insulated him from some of the expectations by talking about, it'll take some time. We don't know if he's ready, et cetera, et cetera. I hope it'll happen sooner. But I've been watching this from afar, and I tell you, those character assassinations, they don't go away. People keep saying it. All offseason, I was bombarded with clips from JD Bunkus, Bob McCowan saying Scottie's not a real one. He's not a real number one. So right now, as much as I do want the Raptors to get a lottery pick, I would love a Kaman Malawach here or a Cooper Flag or one of those guys. I'm also really, really rooting for Scottie to punch it down these people's throats. I want him to get. I know they'll never apologize, but I want them to eat it. I want them to eat it. Like I really want them to fucking eat it. Pause. I want them to eat it because like I want him to take this team to the fucking playoffs and push Boston to like 6 games and average like 28, and they just be like, okay, we were wrong. I just want to hear it one time. I just want to hear them say they were wrong about my favorite player. That's all. That's all I want. Maybe it's damn selfish. It's damn selfish.
Yeah. Look, at the end of the day, it's like these people that are indicating or were indicating that Scottie Barnes, need to change his regimen. He doesn't listen to his vets. Like, I was just so shocked. I'm like, how do y'all know these things? And like, they say he doesn't put in the work. Like, his handles need to get tighter. Yeah, he does need to get tighter. But like, he needs to work on his shot. And here comes Scottie. Like, bro, his mid-range shot has been incredible this year. He's gone to it time and time again. His funny thing is, I seen the same mid-range shot like last year, where he went to it sometimes last year. Even his rookie season, he went to it. Right?
Well,
And he was
last year the
asked about it.
progression was looking great, and it's like the thing is with his mid-range shot, and a lot of people clown it. I don't know if you watched the panel, but every single time I bring up Scottie in conversations with guys like Kawhi, people just want to laugh me out of the gym.
Yeah,
But I
I watch
really,
sometimes.
I really do think that he has this, like, because I went back and I watched a lot of Kawhi. And I watched Kawhi with the Raptors, Kawhi with the Spurs, and then I watched Scottie. And I would just watch one shot, and try to see the difference in how they attack a certain, advantage. Is there a quickness gap? Is Kawhi just that much more refined? Is his handle just that much better?
Yeah,
And
Kawhi's handle is tight.
Kawhi's handle is very, very effective. It's not a wiggle handle. He doesn't do a
No,
lot with it,
but
but
it's
it's
tight.
very, very effective at getting to the spot.
Exactly.
But the difference here is when Kawhi is at the apex of his shot, he has to he doesn't have as much space as when Scottie's at the apex of his
Yeah,
shot.
Scottie has a lot.
I
Scottie
freeze
has a lot of
frame some
space.
of like Scottie's releases, bro. The guy looks like he's perpendicular to the rim. Like there was a shot that he hit over Larry Nance today. where he
Yeah.
was like 3.5 feet above Larry Nance.
Yeah, yeah. And you know what? They are fouling him in these shots. He's getting fouled.
Occasionally, yeah, the lower third. So I'm
Yeah.
saying the thing that I know, and one of the things that, you know, I never had a basketball trainer growing up because I played basketball, but I don't think I was like serious about basketball, like to the point where I needed to invest in a trainer. Not that we had the money to do so. Should I started a YouTube channel with all these super chats, would have been able to afford a trainer back then, but didn't do it. So I've befriended at least 14 trainers, 15 trainers over the last few years, and I just pick their brain, be like asking them, I'll send them like 20, 30 shots of Scottie, be like, what does he need to fix here? I'll talk to Brian, I'll talk, you know, which is Scottie's trainer. I'll talk
Yeah.
to literally anybody, Jordan, you know, on the panel. I just want to hear what they have to say about stuff. And the one thing that I consistently know that I get back from them is everything needs to get faster, everything needs to get faster, everything needs to
Yeah,
get
it's
faster. But things get faster as you do them more. You become
Yeah.
more comfortable. So right
Mhm.
now, it's so obvious to me, even last year it was so obvious to me that there was like a half a second between decisions he was making on his scoring. So he would drive, then there was a half second, then he would turn, then there was a half second, then he
Yeah,
would
yeah.
bump, then
It
there
was
was a half
choppy. It was
second,
choppy. It
and
was
then he would
choppy.
shoot. It's choppy,
Yeah, it
exactly.
was choppy. Yeah.
So
It's glitchy.
now those pauses and those gaps are going from like half a second to like a quarter second. And maybe there instead of 4, there's like 2. But imagine what happens when he can do it all in one motion like Shea.
Hmm.
The advantages are insane because he's stronger and bigger than Shea. Shea is also a guy who people said lacked athleticism or burst or whatever. Scottie definitely has a lot more burst than Shea. He's a lot more athletic than Shea. He's a lot bigger than Shea. So again, I'm not saying he's going to become Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, but Shea Gilgeous-Alexander is another guy that a lot of people doubted could ever be that A1 type of alpha scorer. You know, it's interesting that people are gassing up Cade. I don't think Cade's a better athlete than Scottie at all. At all. Not even close. So
No.
I don't know what it is about Scottie that people like to, you know, say this doesn't project as a superstar. I think, regardless of whether you think he's going to average
I know
28
exactly what
points,
it is. I
what
know
is it?
exactly what it is.
What is it?
It's the fact that like he's not someone that just puts his head down and said, "I'm gonna go get mine. I'm just gonna I'm just gonna go and just empty my clip and score a bunch of shots." You know, like people don't see that. People don't see him as someone who's gonna come down, shimmy, 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 get my shot off, or break you down, go into the paint and easily score. Like because he's not deemed as a scorer
Mm-hmm.
or as a go-to scorer, they don't see him as a superstar. Which is unfortunate because it's so weird. Scotty Barnes is so unselfish. I guess to a fault at times that like, you know, he'll be the type of player who gets his teammates involved. Like, think about it. If you had a player like a Michael Porter Jr. on your team, or let's say a Klay Thompson on your team,
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't you want that guy like Klay Thompson to play alongside a Scotty Barnes because he, Scotty will make sure that Klay gets his touch.
True.
He will get Klay going. Once Clay's going, guess what? Now he's drawing attention away from Scotty. Now Scotty could now operate and start dominating. Like, people don't understand that basketball requires 5 men to play together. Not just one person, a heliocentric basketball. That's so boring. Thank God I don't have to watch that. Watch one player dribble the hell out of a basketball to try and find a shot. Like, look at Brunson. He's a heliocentric basketball player. I hate watching it. I really truly hate watching it. Luca, same thing. I hate watching it. Get your teammates involved. Get them going. Once you start getting them going, guess what? You can go get yours at any given time. Scotty Barnes, make no doubt. He can go and go get his shot whenever he wants to. But that's not who he is. That's not how he plays the game. And that's not how the game should be played.
I think he I talked about it earlier before in the live that got cut off and deleted, but he gets I just need him right now. I don't need him to hot sauce his handle. I don't need him to do all the counters and all the, you know, tween stuff. I just need him to be able to navigate through a gap and get to his spot. That's it. Get
Mhm.
to your spot, beat your guy to his spot. And, you know, when you're there, make the decision quickly to attack. Now, the important thing to realize is that Scottie's kind of backwards. Everything's backwards with him, right? A lot of players, they learn the athleticism stuff first, they learn the IQ stuff second, right?
Yeah,
They
exactly.
learn like the hot sauce handle and the 3-point shot. A lot of these kids, I swear, like when you see these grade 8, grade 9 kids, they're all just
I
camped out the
know.
3-point line, they're hitting threes,
Yeah.
but they don't know the first thing about actual basketball. Then they couldn't even tell you what they were doing out there. Scottie's backwards. He learned the basics, right? So in a lot of
Right.
ways, I sort of appreciate that Darko Rakovic would be the coach that would get him, because he's a lot like a lot of European prospects in that sense. And the one thing that I think is that a lot of these star players like Kawhi and Giannis, when they became dominant scorers, the one thing that teams could always do to them was double team them because they didn't react well. They would turn it over. Kawhi, for all of his greatness with the Raptors, was a piss poor passer. He was one of
Yeah.
the worst passers in the starting lineup. He was a worse passer than Pascal, worse passer than Mark, worse passer than Kyle, worse passer than Norm, worse passer than Fred. He just that wasn't his dominant skill set. He's okay. He's not
Right.
great. Tomorrow wasn't great with the Raptors. He wasn't a great passer. He became a really good passer now. He's a phenomenal passer now. But that came with Scottie. That's who he's been his whole life. He's just a great passer. Grade 6, Scottie had it. Grade 8, he had it. Grade 10, he had it. So now you figure out the scoring part. Now you send a double team. He's going to shred you.
That's
He's going to
right.
shred you. Like you try to back him out. If he can just handle and not lose the basketball, he's going to destroy you because the angles that he has, the processing that he has, and the most important thing is he'll invite those doubles so he can pass out of them. Like he has a lot of Jokic in him. He has a lot of Tatum in him. He has a lot of Shea in him. He's a combination of a lot of the best players in the league, in my opinion. It's just people don't really respect it the same way I guess they didn't respect Jokic. You just have to do it. When he starts going out and comfortably scoring 14, 15 points in the half court, it's over. It's really over because
I
he can
mean,
do it.
look, at the end of the day, like Scottie Barnes just need to have a good team around him. Let's be for real.
Absolutely.
Let's get that right
How
first
many
things
times? How
first.
many times did he find a player wide open at the rim
Just
or
to miss.
to and just to miss? He's here's a shocking stat. Do you know he averages more potential assists per game than Luka Doncic?
Oh, I believe it. Scottie, I absolutely believe it. There's
It's
so
crazy.
many times he sends wide open, like he'll make a pass. The
Mhm.
person's wide open at the three, or wide open in the mid range, or wide open as a cutter, and they'll either blow the layup, miss the three, or miss the mid range, or turn it
Facts.
over. Turn it over is the worst. Scottie Barnes, most of his turnovers come from his teammates not able to catch his passes.
Yeah.
Take that in. Like, think about most of Scottie's pass, like turnovers. They come in the expense of somebody not being able to catch the simple pass.
Yeah, a lot of them do.
Yeah.
And I'm watching these Cade Cunningham games with 10 turnovers, 10 turnovers and back to back, and it's not the same thing. It's not just guys not catching it, it's him just mailing it 2 feet above their head out of bounds. So I
But
don't know.
let me say this though. Um, Scottie Barnes really shut up a lot of people this year so far because he talked about that mid range shot when Will Lou asked him about that mid range shot. He said he's been working at that same shot for the last 2 summers.
It's actually longer.
Well,
He's
I'm
been
sure
working
it's
it
been
for
longer,
longer.
but he that's what he said. I'm just quoting him,
Yeah. No, I caught it. Yeah.
right? So people talk about how Scotty was lazy, wasn't working the office, working the right thing.
Hmm.
Now people are praising that mid range like it's a superstar shot, which it is. It is a superstar shot. That's the
It's
scoop.
totally a superstar
That's
shot.
the shot you need to get a buzzer beaters in playoff games when the game is tight. That shot is unguardable. Let's be for real, right?
I
So
completely agree.
everyone that doubts Scotty, just know that like he is working hard. Like, clearly he's putting the work. And it's so weird how like people don't realize that like, the beginning of the year, right? Scotty Barnes started chalking up shots when he came back with the glasses on, when he broke his face,
Mm.
right? And people are like, oh, why is he shooting threes? Why is he shooting threes? Hello? First, we have no IQ and no Grady Dick.
Mhm.
He's not running point guard with players who can't shoot. Like, no one can shoot. The paint is
True.
clogged. His face is broken. The last thing he wants to do is go in that paint where there's 5 guys sitting there waiting for him. He's not comfortable enough. He doesn't feel comfortable enough to go in there. Obviously, he's going to be camped out in the perimeter, jacking up 12 threes a game.
Mm.
That's just human nature. Any human being who just broke their face and comes back early to play, puts on goggles that he has to get used to, is not going to the paint to bang with nobody.
I
I'm
think it
sorry.
might just be a process of the offense where, you know, you want to work on certain things at certain times, right? So you want to,
Sure.
you know,
He
you
can-
want
he
to
can
work on
put-
your pick and roll ball handling reps, 1, you work on your pull up jump shooting, 2, you work on your mid post package, 3, and you segment it. Like Darko has done this every year with every player. There's a certain assignment, there's a certain thing that you're working on right now, and you're trying to put players in position to do more things that they're supposed to be good at. So with Ochai,
100%.
it's dunks and threes, dunks and threes, dunks and threes in the corner. Now with Ochai, expand, go from the corners and try to see above the break if he can do it. With Grady, like, look at the process with Grady. There's been a lot of tough shots. You can get him a lot of easy shots. We don't want to get him easy shots. We want to get him the tough shots because those are shots we want a second option, third option taking.
I thought Grady has been getting a lot of easy shots. Like, his shots are wide open.
Yeah.
He's just smoking them right now, and that's
Well,
fine.
right
That's
now,
what
yeah, but
happened.
early in the season when Scottie wasn't playing, his
He was-
shots were like the hardest shots like on the team.
There were.
Yeah. Anyways, yo, Coach Mo, what up?
I was just listening to the conversation and I just noticed the difference. We all know it, but the difference is in the way they cover Scottie and the rest of the team. Here's an example. IQ comes back. He has a great game. Boy, did they sing his praises.
One
And
game.
they were side jabs at Scottie. We all know it. They were side jabs because, you know, Scottie being point on, you know, and it's like, wow, okay, yeah, now we have a real point guard. IQ proceeds to play like dog shit. No offense to him. We all love him. He's learning. He's still young. We don't care. We love IQ for the record. But he played like shit for the next couple of games. Not a peep.
Facts.
Nothing was said. Nothing. And he was garbage. It seems like RJ and Jakob in particular, whenever they do something good, they sing their praises. Whenever they do something wrong, crickets. We don't hear anything. Grady Dick, who's in his second year, he started off hot. Grady Dick has been hot garbage for a while, consecutively. He's been bad. He's been bad.
Yeah,
He's a
Grady's been
consistent
bad.
liability on defense. We don't hear anything. We just hear them celebrate him when he finally makes a 3, when he's been shooting pretty poorly. Okay, right? And the list goes on and on. It's all the same. Scottie has a bad game. Oh, they let you know about it. They go on extended soliloquies about him. Oh, he shouldn't have done that. They critique his shot selection live in game. They want to talk about his competitiveness. Did you see him guard Paolo? Did you see him guard Giannis? Did you see him guard Cade? Did you see him guard Darius Garland? Do you see him yelling and cheering? Like, he's the loudest voice on the court. You can hear him through the TV, but he has competitive issues. I don't understand it. These people have already made their mind. And it's borderline disgusting. Honestly, it's borderline disgusting. And it frustrates me. And we're the only fan base and media that shit on our best player.
Bro, don't get me started, bro.
Philly does that. Philly does that. I mean, you know,
their dude makes it easy.
You know,
Their dude makes it easy.
You know,
he
the
makes it
autistic.
easy. But I agree with you. But he makes it easy.
Jokes,
He's never around. He barely plays. He passes the buck on, right?
Yeah.
He threw Ben Simmons under the bus, right? He's a front runner. He plays bad for an entire series, plays one good game, and he's done the airplane thing, right? So it's like he's easy to hate, But even then, I
No,
agree.
they don't criticize Embiid. They criticize literally everything but Embiid. They criticize Butler. They criticize Jimmy, James Harden, Tyrese Maxey, Paul George. They're gonna run Paul George out of town. Tobias Harris, literally everybody.
They're harder on Embiid now.
They will be now, but they have handled him with kid gloves for the last 7 years.
Yeah, that's why
And I
he is
mean,
the way he is.
it's never anybody's fault. Look, I'm of the opinion that I firmly understand bias. When I hear it, I see it. Like, look,
You smell it.
RJ Barrett should be a better player than Scottie Barnes. He should be, based on the hype, based on the skill set, based on the billing. He was a number one player in high school. He was billed as a franchise savior. Scottie Barnes was billed as a project. So I just want people to keep the same energy when you're comparing these two players, that you realize that one of them is considerably better than the other, even though we have people in the city that just don't agree with that because RJ puts up 30 points every now and again. And when you try to correct them, they call you an RJ hater.
Well, RJ went second.
RJ went third. He went third.
Oh, yeah,
the
went
Knicks were the
third.
worst team in the league that year, and he went
Willem.
third. So
It was Willis,
exactly.
yeah.
But Scottie is supporting RJ's development. RJ is supporting Scottie. There's no debate between these two about whose team it is or any of that stuff. And I love that. And I love that for them. I really think that the media space in this city does have their favorites and that they don't talk about them at all. Davion is one of their favorites. They don't talk about him. Now, I'm not talking about him right now either, because I think despite his shooting performances and all that stuff, he's been really competent. He's been good. What are you expecting? Like, what were you expecting? I wasn't expecting jack shit. So the fact that he's doing anything is amazing to me, right? I prefer Jamal Shed for sure. It's the same thing with Grady. They love Grady. They love Grady. Grady can do no wrong. Does that mean I have
no
to?
wrong?
Grady can do absolutely
which
no
is
wrong.
fine. Like, in my eyes, he can't do no wrong either because he's still young. Year two.
But here's the thing, Zazu, that I ask you. When Scottie was in year 2, did they give him this courtesy?
No,
Grady
they
was
didn't.
Grady was the
why-
Gatorade National Player of the Year. He was billed as a shooter who has been shooting cold literally for 2 years now. He was so bad he didn't even he couldn't light up the G League last year. And I never gave up on him ever. Like, I have been firmly with him every step of the way. Struggles,
but we're
all
better
that
than
stuff.
them. We're better than them. We don't criticize year 2 players. Or
Facts,
even
because
year 3 players.
because we don't beat our children.
Yeah, exactly. That's crazy. Yeah, they gotta be better.
You know what I mean? It's like,
they know they gotta be better. When
Neither
it's
do
time
they.
to
This
get
is a
their licks, they'll
Scottie
get their licks.
issue. This is a Scottie specific thing. They don't either. For the most part, they don't. This is a Scottie specific issue. Fred VanVleet played like absolute dog shit for most of an entire year.
Don't get me started, bro. Please don't get me started.
And all they bring up is the good times. And
drives per game. He drives per game. I'm like, look at the percentages on those drives. No. We don't talk about that. He's 6 feet tall. It's like, bro, come on now. Like, I feel like I shouldn't even be upset with them, because if they didn't exist, I don't think we'd exist. I feel like them being so bad at their jobs is what makes me want to go into the Raptors spaces and listen to what Zazu's got to say, or, what probably makes people come here and listen to what I got to say. Because I received an email yesterday, which blew my mind. Okay. This dude emailed me. He's like 60-ish. He's north of 60. He said he was 67. And he said, Pittsburgh basketball, Rob, I just wanted to let you know, I've been listening to the mainstream media pretty much my whole life. I was a Leafs fan. I turned into a Raptors fan in 2016. And I've been getting a lot of my stuff from these guys. But lately I've been, finding myself not really able to listen to these people. And I'm just listening to you. And thank you so much for keeping this energy for our players, for our team, for supporting our team. And I was like, damn, that is exactly what's happened to a lot of people in this community. A lot of people in this community listened to a lot of these other podcasts. They listened, they read, and then at some point they just got fed up because they saw through the bullshit, and they was just like, I don't need to listen to this biased bullshit anymore, And I'll be 100. I love Kayla Gray. Love Kayla Gray.
Yeah.
There was so it's not a war against all media. There's also the French dude that I shouted out, whose name I'm forgetting right now. I think his name is Michael. He's fantastic too. He asks great questions. I've always kept pretty good energy towards Eric Kareen. Zatzman has some good things to say, so I mean, there's plenty of people doing a good job of covering this team. I'm very thankful that there are so many content creators covering this team. But yeah, this Scottie double standard is weird. And I wonder sometimes, if you're not happy, in year 3 when he's averaging 28-6 or 28-5, what were your expectations? Like, did you expect him to come out and average 30 in
The
year 3?
goalpost just moves. That's all it is. The goalpost moves.
It just keeps moving though. That's what I'm saying. It's like, if I could go back and if I can go back and read you what these people who are criticizing him today said about him when he was drafted, they pretty much guaranteed you he was never going to average 20 a game ever. They were like, it'll be great if he can just plug in next to, Siakam and help him and be like the 4th option. Maybe it'll work out to something. Never going to be as good as Suggs, never going to be as good as whatever. And I'm just like, okay, so they thought he was Draymond Green. Okay. And now Draymond Green is looking a lot more like Kawhi Leonard than Draymond Green, and they still got complaints because he's not fully Kawhi Leonard. It's like, bro, if Draymond Green had turned into Kawhi Leonard, I think someone would have fucking thrown a parade. So I don't know, man. I think the goalpost definitely keeps moving. I don't know what Scottie did to these people. I don't know why it keeps happening. But even the compliments are somewhat laced with like backwards. There's a backhandedness, like it's like, yeah, he's super talented, but I don't know how much he really wants it. Or yeah, he's a really great guy, but maybe he's too nice. You know what I mean? It's like, what the fuck? Why is there always that second thing? It's like, yeah, you're successful, but your parents kind of helped you out a lot. It's like the but kind of undercuts everything you're saying.
Yeah, you might as well not say the first part.
I also, how congrats on 12K. So when you announced 12K, like 10 minutes ago, or whatever, I just went to see. The first thought in my head was, how many subscribers do those guys have? The guys that branched off.
Mm-hmm.
The guys that we're talking about, they branched off from the Raptors show, and I'm like,
You talking about Will Lou?
bro? They have like 8K. Okay.
I mean, they started this year. They're
No, I know.
outpacing
They're
us.
growing pretty fast.
Yo,
They're growing pretty fast.
Hold on. They have the powers that be backing them.
That's true.
They've had a few guests. I was like, wow.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the machine is on their side to a degree. 8K. I'm telling you, bro. The people are tuning out. They're done.
I noticed
a lot of these people, it's hard to listen to. It's hard to stomach listening to these people.
Well, I noticed something really interesting a few weeks ago, which is when the Raptors win, they tend to do just marginally better on the views. So it'd be like 4,200 versus 4,100 or 3,900 versus 4,000. It's very marginal. But when the Raptors lose, we kill them. Like, we kill them every single time. And that's when I was like, you know what? These are the diehards. The diehards are here. These are the people, because they tune in to understand why their team did not win. They want to understand what went wrong. What can we fix? Because you know what? Like, it's kind of weird. When you end up at the hospital, it's the loved ones that show up. When you win the lottery, everybody shows up. You know what I mean? So it's like, in your tough times, you find out who the real ones are, right? No, I'm not judging anybody. You don't want to watch the product, that's perfectly fine. That's cool. It's your prerogative. I think a lot of people, for them, their sports need to fill their lives with enjoyment. Maybe it's not very enjoyable to watch a team lose. But yeah, like, I mean, I always found that to be kind of fascinating. There were a couple of post-game lives where we beat them by like 1,000, 1,400, 500. I was like, whoa, like, wow, their audience really does not care for a losing team. And, here we are at almost, 12:15 in the morning, got like 10 super chats that I got to read out. And, we got 300 people in here on the second stream that we done. And here we are,
I also want to just say that with the Davion Mitchell thing, how I think you've brought down the Davion Mitchell, critique, because he's actually playing better.
We hashed it out.
But also objectively, he's not playing as bad. Number two, Darko has said Jamal Shed is like the future, and his minutes have come down. So and the other side isn't talking about 10 million. So things have. Anybody that knows basketball knew Davion Mitchell, this is a stopgap, or maybe he's a minimum contract going into next year. And that Jamal Shed
I
is
really
a more
like.
long-term
I'm a
solution.
fan of his defense, though. I wish. I don't know.
Yeah, but again, his defense is in spurts. Davion Mitchell in an ideal team is a third string guard who comes in to change the energy and to disrupt flow, right?
Would you feel
And he doesn't
differently if
play
he
every
could
game.
become a
He shouldn't
knockdown
play every
catch and
game.
shoot?
Huh?
Like if he could become a knockdown catch and shoot player.
Then
and
he's a backup point guard. Then he's a backup
Okay.
point.
So that's where I'm at. Like Davion has a lot of gaps in his game. He doesn't process the court overly well, right? He's not dynamic. He's not super shifty.
He's been shooting a 3 well though as of
But
late.
someone said
has.
he's an excellent defender. He's not, because there's so many
He really
factors
is
to
though.
defense.
He really is
It's
an
it's
excellent
it's
defender.
it's
No,
mixed.
no.
It's mixed. It's mixed. So what he does well defensively, the pressure at the point of attack
Yes.
is very good.
But
He
here's the
also
problem.
like
It's more than
walls
very
up
good.
super well. So like he's like an immovable object. Sometimes you
Yes.
drive into this dude and you can't get any space. So he's super strong. So he does a lot of that Fred VanVleet stuff. Unlike Fred VanVleet stuff is very glaring though, because as a team defender, as a system defender, as a rim defender, he's off-ball defender, not very good.
You guys are missing one more portion of his defense though. That's very important.
He's not a good rebounder either.
Right.
He
But
misses box
Not at
outs a
all.
lot. So
Not
But
at all.
there's
he's tremendous. He's tremendous in the pick and roll. He blows off a screen every time. He fights through
He
screens
doesn't do it
with
every time.
ease. He does. He does
No.
it very
For
well.
a guy his size, he should be able to get around screens better.
Oh man, come on.
I
For a
think
guy
he's
his
I think he's getting a little bit better at it, but I'm gonna tell you the truth, God's honest truth. I watched the game, I think against the Lakers, where he got destroyed every time, like 7-8 times in one game.
On the pick and roll?
Yeah,
Here's my critique why I don't consider him an excellent defender. He's very strong and he's very aggressive. And when it's going well, it's going great. You're like, this dude needs to pass the ball right now. My issue is there are too many times he gets overly physical and it's like he committed a foul. So everything you did was for naught.
I think it sets a good tone. Like, hold on, here's the thing. So when Davion or Jacoby, who is actually pretty damn good at this himself,
Jacoby's
right?
good
When
at
they
defense.
set
Jamal.
that pressure at 45 feet, right? What they're doing is they're delaying offense, which is allowing defense to catch up, right? It's maybe just something as simple as a miscommunication being ironed out between two players, scram switch, something. So what's been happening though is all that effort is wasted when the second defender doesn't do his job, right? So you don't even see the benefits of that first exhausting layer of defense because the second layer doesn't show up. And Lord help you if the second player is actually in the gap, the third player isn't at the rim, or RJ is getting back cut, or losing an open shooter, or it's just too easy to solve the Raptors defense. Lately, though, it has been much harder to solve the Raptors defense because now you're actually supporting that point of attack stuff that Jacoby and to some extent Scottie as well, but especially Davion and Jamal Shed, what they're doing now, the second layer of the defense is actually set to help, and the third, the third rotation is actually coming, and then that final rotation is coming, and by that time the shot clock's run out. You know what I mean? So it's like the defense is operating on a string. Davion is very talkative. He's extremely communicative on defense. He talks a lot. So that is something I appreciate about him a lot because that's not something you take for granted. There's a lot of players who are very mouse quiet on defense. So I appreciate that about him too.
Like Jamal Shed, he's quiet.
Yeah, he needs to talk a little bit more for sure. Scottie and Davion definitely the loudest players on the team for sure. Like they're the ones who are always talking. They're the ones, and you got to talk. Like defense, any good defense, anyone who's ever played basketball would tell you, good defenses talk. All good defenses talk. Because there's so many things you have to communicate, and there's so many mistakes that are going to happen. You think the Raptors championship defense was perfect? It was not perfect. It was never perfect. There wasn't one possession. Well, I mean, there's some possessions that were just like chef's kiss, but there was like so many breakdowns where Pascal gets lost for a quarter second, and then boom, there's Marc Gasol helping him out, or Danny Green loses a corner shooter, and then boom, there's Kawhi helping. So it's just like it's a constant help the helper situation. And the Raptors are finally doing that. You know what I mean? Like they're finally communicating.
I find the difference of the three small guards. I want to compare, not offensively, I think defensively. Do you think Davion is a better defender than Fred or Lowry?
What?
No.
Neither do I. Neither do
You don't
I.
think Davion is better
Nope.
defending than Fred?
Nope. Here's the difference. Here's where Davion off ball, it's not even close. Off ball, it's not even close. Fred and Lowry, what I appreciate about them, they're better post defenders. And those two, if you're in the paint and the ball comes anywhere near your waist as a big, it's gone. The ball's gone. It is gone. That ball better be a shoulder or above, or it is gone. Those two had the best hands, one of the best hands I've ever seen in snatching balls away. And here's where, and they were better closing out. They were better at contesting closeout, especially Lowry. And they were better rebounders. They were better at boxing
I
out.
don't think Fred VanVleet's defense was nearly as good as what you were saying it is. Kyle, yes.
Fred
defense,
early on, Fred before he became an offensive focal point, yeah, he was better. Easily better overall. The thing with Davion is when Davion's defense on ball is going well, it's loud and it's noticeable. He's like extremely disruptive. But how many times a game is he guarding on ball and he's extremely disruptive enough? Because most of the time they don't want him on ball. They get the ball away from him because he's very good at that. So you have to be good off ball because you're going to be off ball a lot. Great defenders have to be good off ball because they don't want you on ball.
It's true.
It doesn't make sense for you to be on ball. They're not going to let Dyson Daniels just go one-on-one, play a defender one-on-one. You have to be good at screens. You have to be good off ball because they're going to get away from you. It doesn't make sense for them to attack you. This is your strongest suit.
The first thing that, I have a friend who covers, I have a few friends who cover the Sacramento Kings, but one of my friends covered the Sacramento Kings. First thing I talked to him about Davion, and I said, you watch this guy for every game the last 3 years. Tell me what I'm missing with his defense, because it's not as impactful as I think it's being billed as. And he said, set a screen, he's done, right? Set a screen away, or get him switched off, or cut him backdoor, and he's gonna lose. He's gonna lose it. Like
no, for
in
sure.
the post, he's not great because he doesn't have elite length. He's not a super long player in the post, so he doesn't defend super well in that. He's strong, but he's not switchable. So unlike Ochai Agbaji, Jacoby Walter, Jalen Suggs, smaller guards who have elite wingspan, Dwayne Wade, where you can actually put them closer to the rim and they're still going to bother a shooter, he's not going to do jack shit for you at the rim. His goal is basically he delays offense. That's what he does. He makes ball handlers uncomfortable. He's a ball hawk. That's what he does. And he's so good at it. Yes, he's so good at it. Which is why I think what Coach Mo said made sense, is that he's a third string point guard. He's what you do when a guy gets going. Like if you're facing off against Trae Young and Trae Young hits back-to-back buckets. Also, I don't think I mentioned this at any point, but I think Darko deserves a lot of credit for tonight's win, because Lord knows he's gotten a lot of slander for the losses. One of the things that I appreciated is every single time a timeout needed to be called tonight, it was called immediately.
Absolutely.
And Grady, did you notice Grady got subbed out in the third quarter and 50 seconds in? Did you notice that? Bruce Brown came in. And what happened? It was offensive rebound.
He fouled
boom.
somebody, no?
I don't remember. I think it might have been
that was his fifth foul.
Was it?
Mm-hmm.
My bad.
5 fouls, brother. Man got 5 fouls. Come off. Come have a seat.
I was trying to figure that one out. I was like, okay. Because I often listen to these broadcasts on mute. So, unfortunately. SP saying fourth foul.
Well, no, it's his fifth.
Was it?
Yeah, that was his 5th foul right off the rip. Look at the box score. You can even go to
I'm
play.
gonna go to the play by play.
Yeah.
How the hell did he pick up 5 fouls that quickly? He had 4 fouls in the first half.
Mm-hmm. That's why he barely played. The man played himself out of the game.
God damn.
Yeah, he had a really bad game. He was minus 11 at one point until he hit that 3. And I think he ended up with minus 9. Correct me if I'm wrong.
So 11:40, Grady Dick offensive foul. So it
Yeah.
says offensive charge.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, and then he came out at the next. Okay.
That charge, that charge, Darko didn't challenge it. So he got his 5th.
I have a question.
What's up?
This may sound crazy,
Mhm.
but considering their contract length and the number,
Mm-hmm.
who do you think is actually worth more in the open market? Like you can get a little bit more, Boucher or Pirtle?
Pirtle.
Pirtle.
It's not even a question.
Because Yak has a player option which he might take for like another 19.5. So he
Okay.
after this season, there's 2 19.5s. Boucher isn't expiring at
Yeah,
11.
but
Okay,
Pirtle,
but I
Pirtle
mean,
is actually a serviceable, like a actual
Boucher
serviceable
isn't.
big.
Boucher as the 4th, 5th guy on the court,
dude,
where
I was
all he has
saying
to do is
last year
finish.
before the Celtics traded for Xavier Tillman last year, I was like, Chris Boucher would help the Celtics so much, and they did not listen. But I think Chris in a limited role helps so much because he puts points on the board and he's just relentless energy. Chris Boucher is to power forwards offensively what Davion Mitchell is to point guards defensively. He is the perfect 5-minute player. 5 minutes. See if he has it. If he doesn't have it, bench him. But it's like that perfect, like that's such a luxury because, role players win games all the time, right? Chris is currently leading the team in box plus minus, which is ridiculous and also true. He's ahead of Scottie Barnes in box plus minus. He's a 2.1. I don't know if that changes after tonight. Probably doesn't. Like he's had some monster games.
Yep.
And this is not the first season he's done it. He's done it many times. The analytics love Chris because the analytics can't see Chris.
Which
right?
team do you think I really think he would fit really well in like Denver.
Denver would be great for him. I don't know if they have the contracts to move though. They have all these big contracts. You'd be looking at Zeke Naji. Was Zeke Naji? Yeah, it would be Zeke Naji, and that's a terrible contract. So you would be looking at Zeke Naji and picks.
I love Boucher. Like I want him on a team that's going to be in the playoffs, and I want to root for him. Like I just want to watch him. It's going to be weird to seeing him in another jersey.
Well, what if he's on? Okay, I think we need to address the elephant in the room. The Raptors can make the playoffs.
Yeah, we're like 4
Yeah.
games away from playing.
Dude, we've been looking at Tankathon. Let's look at the standings for a second because I think this might genuinely shock you. The Raptors have passed the Charlotte Hornets. Okay. Both teams are 5 and 5.
Chicago has 19 wins.
Okay, cool. Chicago sucks. Okay, so we're 5.5 games back of Chicago. We are half a game back of Brooklyn, which is crazy to say because Brooklyn has lost 6 straight. So we are going to get passed by Brooklyn 100%.
Yeah,
So
if we keep playing like
really, the question now is, do you want to and can you catch both Chicago and Philly and frame in for 10th? Now, it's worth noting as well, we don't know what's going to happen in Miami with Jimmy Butler. Presumably, this is the high water mark right here. Okay, number 7. There's no chance you're catching Orlando. They just got Franz back. They're going to get Jalen Suggs back at some point. You're not catching them. You're not catching Detroit unless they fall off completely. You're not catching Indiana, who just won today, the second game of the Paris games. You're not catching Milwaukee, New York, Boston, or Cleveland. So the question right now is, can you catch 2 one of Philly, Chicago, or Atlanta, or Miami. You just need to catch one of those teams.
You're
And
gonna need
boom, you're
help.
10th.
But the problem with this is I don't feel like if you wanted to make the playoffs, your fate isn't necessarily in your hands entirely. You started off so bad, you need help.
Okay.
You need them to lose. You need them to continue to lose. Like Atlanta's too far ahead. So for us to make the playoffs, Chicago is going to have to like lose at a higher rate, which is probably going to happen. And Philly continuously has to wet the bed, which they've been winning lately. So that's not helping.
Oh my God, Jalen Suggs came back tonight. I didn't know this.
Yeah, he came back, but didn't play that well.
I mean, he didn't play much. He had 8 points. He was
think he
plus
got hurt.
12
The-
in
He might have
16
got
minutes.
hurt again, no?
I think he's
Not
probably
yet.
on a minutes restriction, no?
Rob, can you go to Cade's stat line? Could you go up?
His that line's crazy.
35, 11. Cool.
31 shots. 31 shots. That's including 7 free throws. So that's really what? 30. That's like, are you serious? 31 shot attempts plus 7 free throws, which don't count as a field goal attempts. He has 11 assists. The usage is insane. You're telling me
get it
you had
up.
all that usage and all you had was 35 points?
Mm,
Do you know what the best players in the league would do with this much usage? Regularly?
I mean, I'm watching some of the best players in the league with this much usage, and I'm seeing them, like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander takes 31 shots every now and again. He usually puts up 40 points, 45 points, 50 points. You know what I mean? Like people were complaining that, what Shai did against Utah was like stat padding. I'm like, y'all crazy. No, there is a significant gap. Unfortunately, the casual fan is betting the parlays and they're seeing 35 points star, right? So the thing is with Scottie, he's averaged 24.5 points over the last 2 games. That's better than 17 and a half, 16, 15, 18, right? So really, it's so funny to say, but Zazu might be right. I think the only gap between Scottie getting the respect and Scottie not getting the respect is like 3 points per game. I really do.
They don't see him. They don't see
They don't
him as a
respect 19.9, but they would be respecting 23 so much.
Yeah.
It's so funny to me.
What's the gap
So-
in usage?
It's just one more 3. I mean, for fuck's sake, just make 1 3 a game that you're not making right now, and then boom, there goes the dynamite, right?
Or go to the line a little bit more because Scottie Barnes' whistle is trash.
That's true, but he's been getting to the line lately.
Yeah.
Like the
So
last
we're
2
not
games, he
complaining.
did get to the line for sure.
Yeah.
But I
agree.
mean, like star players have, these young star players especially, they do have some cold ass games once in a while, right? Like they really do. I watched yesterday. We were on playback and we were watching, a disaster class from Donovan Mitchell, just crazy down the stretch, right? And I don't know, man. Like great, like tonight, 11 for 27 for Donovan Mitchell,
But he had 33.
but he had 33. Darius Garland, 22 shots, 39 points. Boom. Right. There's so many times this year where Tyrese Maxey, who a lot of people considered to be better than Scottie Barnes, he would come out and I wonder what he did today. He had 31 points on 23 shots. Very good. Very efficient, I guess. But there's so many times where he's come out this year and he's had shit. Let's look at some of these. He's had 7 for 19, 5 for 12, 10 for 23, 5 for 13. I mean, shit. He had some 5 for 13. Generally speaking, he's pretty efficient for an undersized guard, but he has some crazy
5
ones.
for 18. Yeah.
So, these
Man,
star
showing
players,
tour
they do.
dates, man.
That's factoring in no defense.
He's not a great defender. That's true. So again, I think with Scottie and did you catch Charles Barkley saying Scottie is one of the top 10 to 15 players in the league?
Yeah, I did.
Very cool.
For all these people that say criticize Scottie, if you watch the games, when like there are possessions where Paolo has the ball or Cade has the ball, and the guy that Scottie's guarding sets the screen, and he literally says, "What are you doing? Go away!
Mhm.
Why are you bringing that guy to me? Like,
Yeah.
go away!" And
Yeah.
then they're like, "Bring Grady or bring Jakob, bring anybody but him, please."
Right.
Yeah, they
Right?
want they
And
try
it's
to
like
yeah.
people who know what they're watching and the players themselves, they know who the best player on our team is. They know who it is. Our players know. I'm guarantee you, RJ watches Scottie get the stop routinely, and he's thinking to himself, "Wow, I can't
No,
do.
listen to
I
RJ
don't have
talk
no
on
hope of stopping
Scotty.
that."
You need to listen to RJ talk on Scotty. He's like, man, Scotty does everything, man. Wow. The man's in awe with Scotty every time, right? So I'm not shocked.
I think Scottie can average 25 next year easy with natural progression.
He could
And
average 25 this year if he
no,
wanted
no, I'm
to.
saying very easy. Upgrade the roster slightly. He simplifies his 3-point attempts, and
Mhm.
he's over 50%. If he stops the super deep threes and he tones down the pull-ups, oh my God, he's over 50%.
But
He's around
he hits
33,
the
34% three.
he
Easy.
hits he hits those super deep one at a higher clip than every other three.
It's the pull-ups. The super deep ones, they're not pull-ups. They're catch and shoot from deep.
Yeah, the catch and shoot ones are good.
But again, this is a year for him trying new things and just developing, because like Rob has said, his first 2 years, charge it to the game. Charge his first 2 years to excuse
He
my
was
language, to the fuckery. His
Bro,
first
nah,
2
man.
years went to
His
the
second
throw it in the bin.
his second year was hurt, bro. He got gingered ankles.
I'm saying the way we used him. This,
Oh
in
yeah,
terms of the player we want him to be, this is year 2
yeah.
Mhm.
I agree.
of his development. Whereas Paolo, as the player they want him to be, this is year 3. For Cade, the player they want him to be, this is year 4.
Oh, this is first year being a first option. You're right.
For who?
Scotty Barnes.
No, I meant for Cade, this is year 4.
I know. I'm saying like I'm
For
agreeing with
for
you. I'm
for
saying Scotty
Anthony
Barnes.
Edwards, this is year 5. For Scottie, for the player we want him to be, this is year 2. On a
Yeah.
worse roster than all those other guys have consistently.
Hmm.
Yeah, you're right.
And he's rawer than all of them, and we're shocked that he looks rawer at times than all of them.
I guess the question you should ask yourself is, if Scotty wasn't on your team, would you like to play? Would you like to play against him?
Hell no.
Bro, yo, listen. And I know Rob agrees with me on this. If Scottie Barnes and Cade Cunningham had a one-on-one matchup, bro, he's getting destroyed because one guy can't guard the other.
Cade,
He can't guard him.
Consistently locks him every time.
If Scottie and Paolo played one-on-one, I'd give the edge to Scottie, because you have to defend one-on-one. When players play one-on-one, the question is, can one person stop the other? It's not who's more skilled, who has a better bag. Can one guy guard the other guy?
Right.
Who's the better defender?
Who's the better hooper?
He's the better offensive player, but he has to play defense.
Is he the better offensive player if he's getting clamped up?
It doesn't matter if you think Paolo's the better offensive player. Scottie's a better defensive player. And I believe consistently Paolo would have a harder time scoring on Scottie, who's engaged defensively in a one-on-one matchup, than Scottie would score on Paolo. I think that game would be good though, and it would be close.
Scottie can score on Paolo with ease. Let's be freaking honest.
I don't know if he would score on Paolo with ease, because Paolo's pretty strong.
I promise you, with ease.
But he would destroy Cade one-on-one. Destroy. Because there's something called physics. And physics is undefeated.
It is.
Facts, man. I mean, I think it's cool that we're having this conversation, because I swear to God, just a year or two ago, we were having conversations about Scottie versus Jabari Smith.
Jalen
Suggs. You know what I mean? We've cleared those conversations, and we're firmly talking about first overall options and first overall picks. Maybe someday we'll be talking about Scottie and Luka. Maybe someday. And at that point, I'll still be complaining that Scottie plays defense and Luka's a pylon. You know what I mean? So it's cool. Like, I mean, look, I think it's important for fans to want their guy in those conversations. You know what I mean? Like, it's important to me, at least, that, on the panel when we're talking about Scottie, that there's some respect shown to Scottie. You see at the Buzzer Sports, making a video about Scottie Barnes that gets 4,000 views now. That's great. This is good. And I think like every time I'm bringing up, and people have an opinion, they're reminded that Scottie Barnes exists.
And
You know what I mean? They're reminded to have a debate. They're watching. Maybe sometimes they're hate watching. They're like, this guy Penn, he's fucking stupid. He keeps gassing this guy up, and he just had 18 points and he shot, terribly from the field. But now they're paying attention. You got their attention. Now you got their attention. Let's go do something with it. Now you got 3 wins in a row, 5 out of 6. The Raptors are heating up. I think this team is gonna sell themselves on maybe making a play-in push, man.
Maybe. We'll see.
I mean, there's a positive to both. It means the players you have in your assets have increased. So, I mean, there's pros to both. It's like if we're going for the top 3 pick, it means the vets you want to trade at the deadline are you're gonna get a poo-poo platter, right? But if you go the opposite, your young players as assets increased and your vets as assets increased. So there's pros and cons. It's not doom and gloom one way or the other, right? If we're gonna be tank nation, that means your asset base for the time being goes down.
Have you seen the next 3 games? New Orleans,
Pelicans,
Washington,
Washington,
Chicago.
Crazy.
Yo,
Crazy.
this team could win 6 straight and be the hottest team in the league.
And LA on the road with half their good players not playing they ain't world beaters either.
Yeah.
That's true. I
Just
mean,
wasn't playing recently.
then you got the Lakers. I'm sorry. Then you got the Clippers, the Knicks, Memphis Grizzlies, OKC Thunder. Okay, yeah, that's 4 tough games, right? But you win the next 3, and your record moves to 16-32. I mean, shit.
The 16-32 sounds like we were on a 6-game losing streak. It's crazy.
Yeah. For sure.
I also want to say one thing about Scottie. I was watching the game and I'm seeing him on the bench. Physically, at 23 years old, his arms are more defined. He's not necessarily gaining weight, but he's looking stronger. He's getting more fluid in his movements. He's getting more comfortable with his body. Bro, when this guy's 25, and to me, the scariest part is like, you see LeBron when he was like in 27, his early years in Miami, he got a little bit bigger, but he wasn't massive. But it's like he gained some weight. He didn't gain enough weight to be this much stronger than when he was younger. He's just matured and he's now a man. Like a lot of these players who come in big, they don't necessarily gain a lot of weight, but they get stronger. They don't, bro, when Scottie's 25 and there's a team around him and he puts that shoulder into you at 25, 26 and his movements are fluid, bro, it's the Kawhi Leonard, Kevin Durant. I'm going to my spot. You know where I'm going. I'm going to tell you where I'm going, and there's nothing you can do about it. Ask for help because physics is undefeated.
He will get there. Like, his handle is only going to improve. Like, it's not like it's not, right?
I think that's the most important thing. I think his handle, his footwork, his handle, footwork, and his overall just coordination as an athlete, like his ability to get lower. Actually, there was this might be a really fun view down memory lane, but hang on, let me just show you guys this. It's like, do y'all remember this little clip? Scottie talks about how he wouldn't mind getting into the gym with Vince Carter. If there was a player in the league, past or present, in his prime, that you could lock him in the gym with for an entire week, food, water available, but they're in the gym for the whole week, who's that player and why?
Kevin Durant.
What's more rare about Scottie Barnes is his IQ for the game, his length, his enthusiasm for the game. All of that stuff shines bright.
I hope I don't get a copyright strike for this as well. The friggin' music.
20. Shit. He knows how to play the right way, and he's only going to get better.
Just because he's so efficient scoring in the half court. I think Scottie takes similar shots, but I think Kevin Durant is like a master in half court offense and how to be efficient, how to get to your spots, and how to play the game at a high level that doesn't require a lot of energy. Like he's very efficient with every move that he does. He's not wasting a lot of energy getting to where he needs to be. Every night he's 15 from He's 15. I mean, he's like 12, 17, 13 for 18, things like that. So I'm not like a overly erring person, but I just want him. He's figuring it out for himself, and he's going through so much. But I just have like my way of just lightly reminding him who he is. Like, I think he had a rough stretch. I just reminded him that he's one of the best players in the world. Like, don't forget that and wear that shit. You know, like that's just an attitude on how you walk, how you lace your shoes up. Like you the best. Like it's not that many people who are the best at something in the entire world.
At 22, if he ever needs a little extra, confidence, a little extra reminder of how good he is, this guy, me, in 2007, anointed Kevin Durant as one of the future greats. I was so adamant that the Portland Trail Blazers would regret it for the rest of their lives. And for pretty much KD's entire career, from Seattle to OKC to Golden State, he was my favorite player. He remained my favorite player until
the Toronto Raptors select Scottie Barnes.
So, yeah, this was said to every person who follows this channel. This is what was coming, right? This is what was going on. This is what he's been working on. This is what he's working towards. And when Brian says he takes similar shots as Kevin Durant, I could just hear the media spinsters just losing their minds. Like their brain just evaporated. They're like, Kevin Durant?
Go to the paint. Go to the paint. Go to the paint.
Exactly. They think he's fucking Shaq or Dwight Howard. And that's the point.
Built the wall, and he's not as good as Giannis at getting to the paint and finishing at the paint. And we built the wall on Giannis. What if they built the wall for Scottie? Then what? Because you gotta be multidimensional. And I remember I disagreed and I said Kawhi. I think he needs to pattern his game out on Kawhi. And my logic was Kawhi's also extremely efficient in the half court. Like, and he's more similar physically to Kawhi, right? I think he's closer to Kawhi in terms of build. But yeah, KD's a great answer. I think KD, number one skill-wise, and number two would probably be Kawhi.
Yeah, I mean, if he could ever get there, and I think the thing that he mentioned, and again, this is where you learn from people who do this at a much higher level. Brian's obviously like a great trainer. And when he talks about energy transfer, that was the thing that really poked my ears. And I started watching, when I watched KD, the coolest thing that stood out about him, he has two movements to get an open shot. It's one dribble pull up, left pull up. He doesn't work very hard at all.
Yep.
And that's not a criticism to him. That's actually just that's because the physics of KD are such that he doesn't have to do a lot. He doesn't have to, jostle for space and push and bump and bump and bump and bump. No, it's one dribble and I'm open. Dribble to the left, I'm open. Turn around, open. Every shot, open. It's like a fucking cheat code. This is the greatest scorer of all time. I really think KD and Jordan are the two greatest scorers in NBA history. At least that's how Kobe's up there as well. But those are the guys. So
they were just more efficient than Kobe. So yeah.
That's the barrier right there, right? So I mean, shit. Like I think Scottie has a lot of the same advantages that KD has. A lot.
The thing about Scottie, and I keep bringing up Kawhi, but when you watch Kawhi and KD, they don't really get to the rim that much. And this is what I hope Scottie would like eliminate those. I'm gonna get to the basket and take a contested shot when you could have stopped short and done like a near the paint fadeaway, which is actually a higher percentage shot than attacking and trying to score over a big or contested arm in traffic. I'm sure Kawhi, he's strong, he can get to the rim, but a lot of the time they just stop short. And the thing that's good, I love about that move, KD does that a lot too, where he beats his guy and then someone's gonna rotate and he knows, and it's like, do I go to the rim? No, I'm gonna stop just short, fade away slightly, and I'm gonna get an uncontested like 6-footer instead of tested at the rim, which is actually a higher shot. And what it does is it saves the wear and tear, right? You're not going to land on people's feet. I remember David West once talked about how he wouldn't take mid-range shots, and his teammates would and his coaching staff would say, "You have to take the shot," and he'd just drive recklessly into the rim. And then one day he got injured, and then that's when he realized, I should just take the open shot.
Right.
Like, I have to save myself. So I think he needs to incorporate, those weird left-handed hooks, those weird hooks, those floaters I think those have to be eliminated and just do the fall away. The little, you see MJ do it, right? Kobe, they do the little fall away instead of crashing to the rim. I'm not saying never go to the rim on a mismatch, but you get what I'm saying.
Right.
There's places where it's just butter.
No, I get you.
Don't make it harder on yourself.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree. He needs to find his spots, left, right, and the cool thing is once the jump shot comes, everything's going to get a lot easier. It's going to get a lot easier. I think he needs to do a lot of form shooting. I think he needs to figure out his feet. Sometimes his feet are off when he takes a shot. Like, it seems like there's a little inconsistency. There's too many motions. He's already got big hands and long arms, which already makes shooting a little bit more complicated in general. So he's got to figure it out. He's got to sort of make everything a little bit tighter and compact. I think everything about Scottie's game just needs to become a little bit tighter. His handle needs to become tighter. His shot needs to become tighter. His movements need to become tighter. Everything a little bit tighter so that he can explode a little bit, right? Because it's like the thing about, becoming compact is that you can get wide. You can get wide and you can get narrow. You can get skinny, then you can get fat. You know what I mean? So that's where I think his game needs to expand. Whereas right now it's all Gumby. You know what I mean? It's like a giant person walking through the paint and he takes giant strides. But it's like, what about that half step? That half step that destabilizes the defense and then the explosion. You know what I mean? That is just, I think it's going to come. But now he's got like building blocks to actually go off of. Like, I've been watching Scottie work every offseason for like 4 years now. Every year there's like one more thing. And you see it and you're like, in a practice setting, I'm like, oh my God, if this ever hits in a game setting, people are going to be fucking yelling MVP. So I think it's going to be great. Anyways, my pizza's almost here, yo. The Raptors may not be having a pizza party, but I definitely ordered pizza. I want to thank all you guys, for spamming your super chats and stuff. I want to thank you, you guys. Do you have any final thoughts?
I do.
Go ahead.
You go ahead. You go ahead, Coach.
I'm saying this officially. I have Jacoby Walter over Grady Dick. Jacoby Walter over Grady Dick long term. I'm standing on that. I might be wrong, but I'm standing on that.
I honestly,
they're close. They're really close.
Yeah, I'm not the mindset of pinning players against players. That's
no, I'm not. I'm not. But
it kind of does. It kind of does. When we go and say, "Oh,
can both of them start though?" Here, like, I don't know.
They can.
Yes, they can.
Okay. Well, then RJ got to go. RJ, Mitchell.
Why does anyone have to go though?
No, what I'm saying is this. I don't think you can play all three of them. Well, maybe one goes to the bench. Sure, one goes to the bench.
Yeah,
the Raptors are so bad with isolation scoring. If you actually traded one of those players for a great isolation scorer at some point, you would actually be helping out a lot. And a great isolation scorer like a Brandon Ingram. The problem is you don't have enough defense to compensate for another non-defender coming here. Otherwise, there's tons of isolation scorers who don't play defense across the league. The problem is you got a whole bunch of non-isolation scorers who don't play defense. That's the conundrum with this roster. Now they're starting to play a little bit of defense. Let's see how it, carries forward. But I think the vets are doing a lot of heavy lifting for the winning right now, to be honest. I don't think it's just the kids are great. It's like they're participating. But it's definitely the grown-ups in the driver's seat right now, for sure. Yeah. Anyways, Zazu, final thoughts?
Yeah. Guys, enjoy the wins when they come. Can you hear me still?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Gotta enjoy the wins when they come, guys. Like, win or lose, we're here. Just real ones know that, like, you can't enjoy wins when you don't suffer losses. You know what I'm saying? We have to stick it through. You know what I mean? There's an opposition.
The Raptors had 20 23 or 24 wins in all of 2024 combined.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That's
And
nasty.
right now they have 6 wins in 2025, and with 26 days into the year.
Mm-hmm. We're
So
6-6 in January.
I mean, that's crazy.
We're
We have clearly decided 2025 is our year. And I mean, look, the Orlando Magic, if you remember, they pulled together. You know, they beat the Celtics a couple times in Boston. They beat the Clippers, and that was their blueprint, right? They beat a bunch of competent teams. And next thing you know, they're a little bit late in the lottery. They don't get the super high lottery pick that year. I think they got Anthony Black. And then the next year they come out, now they're good. You know what I mean? But they didn't stop that winning to bottom out. No, that winning is what they built their entire offseason on. And then what they next year, what happened last year was they went to the playoffs, and they faced off against the Cavs and pushed them to 7 games and lost. This year, if they're healthy, I suspect they can go all the way to the Eastern Conference Finals. This is how rebuilding is done, man. So, as long as it's not like we're signing old guys to come in and benching all the young guys not developing. I don't want that Fred VanVleet situation to happen again. But right now, you're winning with Scottie and RJ averaging
or the
47
Lakers
points.
situations.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
honestly, look, like I said, we gotta enjoy all the wins and enjoy all the losses, because at the end of the day, right now we're building. The process is called building, right? So I'm
Yeah.
not gonna be here crying about Cooper and crying about Ace, crying about Maluak, or players that certain fans are drooling over
I'm
that
gonna
aren't
be
even.
honest with you though. When you see Kaman Malawach in the NBA next year, you will be crying over him. I promise you that. I promise you that.
I know, but like what I'm saying is that like I can only cry over the players that I see on my team right now, because at the end of the day, those rookies that aren't even in the NBA yet, those prospects who are in the NBA still have to prove themselves, no matter how much of a prospect they are. Like look at Scoot Anderson when he came. Look at Zion. Like there's certain the hype. There's certain hypes or all hypes, right?
Mhm.
Sometimes they might just not pan out. So like let's enjoy what we have in front of us and let the chips fall where they may. If we pick first overall, awesome. Second, awesome. 20th, I'm gonna be pissed.
We're not picking 20th. Don't worry.
Yeah, you
The
know what I'm
worst
saying.
we're picking is 16th, 15th.
Right.
Okay.
I'll still
So
be pissed.
we're getting a top. Like if we make the play-in, there's also if you make the play-in, you have something to root for down the stretch. And if you miss the play-in, by the way, you'll still end up with the 8th pick. So that's the kind of crazy part that people aren't realizing and completely factoring in right now, is that let's just say hypothetically you go all in. Let me show you what I mean here. The hell is this? Okay. So let's say right now we look at the standings. Actually, let me see Tankathon standings. Okay. So this is the Tankathon standings, which I don't know how the hell the Sacramento Kings are in the play-in right now, and Dallas is in the play-in, but apparently they are, which is crazy. Okay, but that's the most important thing right now. So let's say you got to catch. You're going to be. Who do you have to catch? Here, this is who you're going to be right there, right? 19 and 27, the Chicago Bulls, right? So they are firmly below they're way below the San Antonio Spurs, Golden State Warriors, Sacramento Kings, Dallas Mavericks, Miami Heat, all these teams. So let's say you're the 10th team. That's your record, right? Pretty much. You'd be 4,100 team, roughly. So let's say you go into the play-in, you got to win twice to make the playoffs. If you're the 10th team, you got to win twice, which means you got to actually do something pretty amazing just to get there. Now, let's just say you miss it. What happens? You fall right back to your original draft position, which is 9th. You could actually have your cake and eat it too. You can develop a winning habit. You can actually go chase 10th. I know it sounds stupid, but if you think about it differently, if you remove the first half of the season where the Raptors, were injured, played like shit, developing a lot of young players, etc., and you just focus in, what do they always say? It doesn't matter how you get to the playoffs. It matters how you're playing going into the playoffs, right? So if you're playing like a 38 to 42 win team going into the playoffs, I don't know. Maybe you could actually bounce some of these teams. I'm not even against it. That's my point. So then if at that point you do make the playoffs, then you get the 15th You would basically you'd have to bump Miami. I don't think you're going to beat Miami or Orlando in a play-in series. I'm just be honest. I don't think so. But it would be nice to see. I'm totally for it, man. I don't care. I really don't care. I'm relegated to my, it could happen.
Welcome back. Welcome back to enjoy the ride.
Yeah, it's always been that way for me though. This year, I was like, you know what? Coming into the season, I was like, I got so mad at Ryan Russillo when he said, "Oh, easy under Raptors, easy under 31, 30, easy under." I was like, "Motherfucker, we're gonna win 36 games," and then we come out and we look bad, and I was happy. And now we're winning, and I'm happy. Guess what? I'm always happy. This year, I've chosen. I chose before the season started. I'm gonna be happy no matter what, right? And that's where I'm at because okay, wait. Not no matter what. If so help me God, if we trade another first round pick for a 35-year-old veteran, I'm gonna fucking snap. That I will lose my mind.
I don't think we're in the business giving out away picks right now when we're building. You know what I'm saying,
bro? We do it every year that we're successful.
Did we give it up? Did we give one up?
Last year was the only year we didn't do it because we were dog shit. But the year before, we do it every year.
For Ochai, we did.
Oh yeah, you're right. We did give up a lot. Yeah, we gave up. This is the ceremonial thing with Masai Ujiri. He has to gift one. He's such a giving guy, He's such a nice guy. He has to gift one first round pick every trade deadline. So if we do that again this year, I'm gonna be pissed. But if we get Cam Johnson, now I'm gonna be really excited.
You give up how many picks for them?
One and maybe a swap. I mean, I just think he's a friggin' fantastic player, man.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Anyways, man, I gotta get to these super chats, and then I gotta get to my pizza. But thanks for calling in, man.
Thanks for having me on, and everyone enjoy the game on Monday, and see you guys when I see y'all. Try to stop it when I can.
Peace, man. Thanks a lot.
Later, brother.
Peace.
All right, later.
Later, Pete. Thanks. I don't know why I just called Coach Mo Pete. I said later, P. I'm like, what? My bad, Coach Mo. Okay, I want to get to these super chats. I apologize. I didn't want to disrupt the conversation, but I'm so thankful to you guys for doing this. That was really nice of you. Very petty of me to be thinking about the fact that, the live stream getting cut off earlier meant that, the revenue from that video just disappeared, which it effectively did. But this pretty much quadrupled, quintupled that revenue. So thank you so much. First of all, the super chat that started it all from Greg, which is congrats on 12,000 subscribers. Thank you very, very much. Today was a great day. It was a great day. The Raptors won 3 straight for the first time. I may have figured out our Penn Dance poster. Let me know what you think of that Penn Dance poster. Penn Dance is coming up on February 27th to March 2nd. Let me know if you like that poster. I think there needs to be some tweaking done to it, but I think it's pretty good. So I was happy. I worked on that for like 3-4 hours. I do a little bit of the design stuff for Penn Dance, so it's personal. Pepper Jack with a $50 super chat. Happy 12K, Rob. Keep going. It sounds like an inspirational message, and it also sounds like I kind of turned 12,000 years old, but I understand. Happy 12K. Yeah. Thank you so much for that. Bueno Kitty read this out. Congrats on 12K subs. Let's fucking go. Dunno on behalf of the fourth quarter gang. More than the stats and the b-ball, it's the culture in here. Represent. Thank you so much. Appreciate you. Elliot Roberts, congrats, Prince best Raptors post-game show, period. Thank you very much. Is Gang with a blank super chat, but a Devin Booker. JS Gang. Sorry. I don't know why I said Is Gang. JS Gang. Jay's Gang. Jay's Gang? With a Devin Booker avatar. Very cool. Faux Time and Fam Jam. Congrats on 12K subs, Rob. Doing the Scottie dance like he did in front of Brooklyn's bench. Yo, that was a meme. That was a gif. All right. ESPN needs IKD. Always appreciate you, man. Congrats on 12K subs, 15K on the way. We appreciate your takes. They may not always be the most popular, but it's refreshing to hear thoughts, hear different angles, even when I may not agree. Opens the door to more high-level conversations. I couldn't agree with you more. Absolutely. We need people to push against things. Gregory found some more change. Thank you so much. Check couch only enough for a single slice. LOL. Thank you very much. Jay's Gang, do you think Scottie Barnes SB can be a 25, 8, and 6 average next year. I think he can do more than that. I think he could average 27, 10, and 7 if he really wants to. That's, you know what? When I went back to that conversation with Brian, it always came back to it. He just has to want it, right? And that's not the same narrative as Jack Armstrong saying he doesn't compete. Scottie competes every night. He wants to win more than anybody. When the Raptors culture was falling apart in year 2, no one was more upset about it than him. No one bitched about it more. No one complained about it more. No one was more sour about it. He hates losing. He's always hated losing. He doesn't care how he plays as long as they win. That's a role player mindset. He needs to get out of that role player mindset and into the star player mindset. And that's where Darko comes in, right? It's so interesting that Darko brought up Radmila Mišović because Mišović is my last name and Čačak is where my family is from. And Radmila Mišović is a legend. And people often ask if we're related. We're not related, but I'm sure through some family somewhere, there's something to it. I was a shooter as well. Yes, there's definitely something in the water in Čačak because I've never met a hooper from Čačak who couldn't shoot the basketball. So it's interesting to note. That's why he's here. Darko is here because ultimately Scottie needed guidance on how to do that. It's not a natural skill set. People don't just grow out of the womb and know how to lead an NBA franchise. You know what I mean? Like that's just not how it goes. For the most part, sorry, I'm trying to figure out when my pizza's arriving here. Sorry. I just don't want to miss it. For the most part, you know, you need to figure out how to lead a locker room. You need to figure out how to command the most out of your teammates. And you need to figure out that the buck stops with you, that you are the person. Shea has figured that out. That's not something Shea immediately knew. It's something Shea had to work at. Kawhi has had to work at that. Joel Embiid has been widely criticized for not doing that. And frankly, KD has been widely criticized by people like Stephen A. Smith for not doing that. Steph is a guy who's learned how to do that. This is a skill set. It is not something that a 21-year-old or 22-year-old. Anthony Edwards isn't a natural born leader. He's just very charismatic. He doesn't always understand what buttons to push, but that's why Garrett Temple's here. That's why Thaddeus Young was here. That's why Otto Porter was here. You know, Scottie reminds me of gifted kids. You know, when we work with gifted kids, there was all this infrastructure around gifted kids. Like there were tutors, there were, you know, coaches, there were all these people because you're nurturing this very, 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 very special talent. And you have to give them all the exposure. You have to give them, you know, the chess lessons. You have to give them, you know, the books and the clubs and the sports. You have to give them everything because these minds are so special at this young age and they're so impressionable and they can go a lot of different ways. You know, there's something that I would say is a very gifted mind can become a very destructive and distracted mind if not properly channeled. You know what I mean? Some of the brightest people in the world are criminals. Some of them are CEOs and inventors. It just depends on how you channel that mind, right? Really smart people, they deviate. That's what being smart is about. You deviate from the trend. You buck the trend. You're not normal. So when Brian says Scottie's not a normal person, he's right. Scottie is a one of one. Like he is a one of billion. You're not going to find another Scottie Barnes. You could say there's 2 in every draft because you're stupid. You don't get it. It's a very rare type of person. It's a very rare type of player that you have here. And I hope that we don't spend most of his prime, especially from the media perspective, because I think a lot of people in the media, they dictate how an average fan talks about this. I hope we don't spend the majority of his prime first tearing him down and then worrying about whether he's going to leave, right? Because that's the old playbook, right? The playbook is what? Year 1, should have picked somebody else, right? That was the thing with Vince too. Why did we give up on Anton Jameson? Anton Jameson was better. Vince Carter, come on, you know, Anton Jameson, player of the year, blah, 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 blah. The Raptors being cheap. And then, oh shit, Vince Carter's really good. Maybe he's the next Michael Jordan. And then he's not the next Michael Jordan. Now he's got work ethic issues. Now he's a mama's boy. Now he's not really competitive. Doesn't really love the game. Too injury prone. Now he wants to leave us. He won't sign with us. He'll leave just like Tracy. He'll leave. American superstars don't want to be in Canada. Oh, look, he came back. But is he really worth all this money? He's making too much money. Oh, now he doesn't want to be here anymore. Now he demands a trade because he's a quitter and he's a baby. And then boom, 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 boom. Yo, we spent almost all of Vince's prime in Toronto crying about Vince. It was so stupid. And I hate it. And then we're doing the same thing with Scottie. You know, it's the same thing. Suggs was better first. Should have traded him for Kevin Durant. Should have, done this and that. And should have traded him for Dame. That was the narrative. Should have traded him for Dame. Should have traded him for KD. Should have done this. Should have done that. Now it's he'll never be a number one. And then eventually it'll be he won't sign another extension. He wants to be in Miami. He wants to go home. He hates us. He doesn't like the cold. The dissection of it is insane, right? He wants help. At some point it'll probably be some bullshit narrative about, oh, you can't win with him as a number one when he inevitably flames out in the playoffs or something. They'll be like, oh, see, this is what you need. You need a Shea, you need whatever. We should trade Scottie for Shea. It's sad. Just enjoy the process. Enjoy the present. He's a great player. He's a great teammate. He's embraced Canada completely. I hope this fan base will continue to nurture that. So yeah, whether he gets to this number that you've pointed to here or not, it doesn't really matter to me. He can be the best player in a championship team 100% to me. Maroon Prince at the buzzer. Happy 12K fam. Thank you so much, man. You always so generous with the super chats. I appreciate this community. It really does feel like y'all are super, super happy for the 12K and the community is growing. I apologize very, very much. I will do my very, very best to upload some version of the film breakdown, and I'll scan to see if it copyright strikes anywhere or whatever. I think copyright strike, I don't know what cued it, so I might have to edit it. I don't know, right? Jay's gang saying, do you think Scottie will stay here for career? I don't know. I would love to tell you that yes, but it's so rare for a player to stay put for his entire career. All I can say is it'll be ethical, whatever it is. If, one day, in his 30s, he wants to go and, chase a championship with the Lakers or team up with somebody in Miami or whatever, if it's going to be something like that in his 30s, I'm sure he'll let them know. Like, he's not going to leave the franchise high and dry. This is a guy who really, really cares. Like, that's one thing I'll tell you about Scottie, just from everything I know about him over the last 5-6 years. This is a person who's been raised very, very well. This is not a, what have you done for me lately? I already got my money. Fuck you type of person. This is not it. Like, he has a conscience. He cares about people. He cares about teammates. It would take a very, very big betrayal of his trust for him to, demand out in a terrible way. You would have to do something very, very bad in that sense. Like, you just have to completely fuck up building around him, and things would have to get really ugly. But yeah, I mean, if I'm being honest, I think it wouldn't surprise me if when he's 34, 35, he goes and signs, a 2-3 year deal with the Lakers to try and win a championship with the Lakers. He was a big Magic Johnson fan. Wouldn't surprise me if, in his late 30s or early 30s, he wanted to play in Miami. It also wouldn't be surprising to me at all if he finished his entire career here. I've simmed out many, many versions of Scottie's career in NBA 2K 2019, 2018. Yes, even in 2018, I was drafting Scottie Barnes to the Raptors. Those of the OGs of the channel know that story. He finishes his career with the Raptors every time when I'm in charge. Okay. But yeah, anyways, thank you guys so much. I will do my best to upload that video, edit it out, and just see, if it catches any flags or anything like that. Somewhat disorienting to have that happen tonight, but maybe I just need to be a lot more careful. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. Appreciate you. Appreciate all of these super chats. And I'm going to go eat some pizza. I hope you will do the same. Talk to y'all later. Bye-bye.